Ali. So thank you for all the classworks that you have submitted and for submitting the quiz. I hope you will continue to do that one. You do your classwork on time and then submit it as when you're done. No need to wait for me to tell you the deadline. So every day you can submit your classwork since we already know that we're online for this week. So, and we don't know what's gonna happen the following the next week and the following weeks to come. So today's lesson is about equations of lines. So what is an equation of a line? So a line, we are talking about this line that are graphed in a coordinate plane. So each of the lines that we see in a coordinate plane has its unique equation. Okay, so the equation represents those lines. No two lines that are drawn differently will have the same equation. Okay, so each line has its own equation. If a line is different from the other, then it should have a different equation. So our goal today is to be able for us to write the equations of the line. So how can we write an equation or the equation of a particular line? Okay, so it all depends on what are we given with, what data do we have. Of course, we cannot make an equation if we're not given with any data. We need to have a given data for us to come up with an equation of the line. So we have here, if you remember from your algebra, that an equation of a line can be written when you're given with any of the following. First, if you're given with a slope and the y-intercept. If you're given with the slope and the y-intercept of a certain line. Next, if the slope and the coordinates of a point on the line are given. So the slope is given and another point which is said to be on the line is also given, then those two data can enable you to or is enough for you to be able to write the equation of the line. And lastly, we can also write the equation of the line from your lesson in algebra. We can also write the equation of the line if you're given with two ordered pairs or we're given with the coordinates of 2 points on the line. So if you're given with point A and point B, okay, so point A has its ordered pair, point B has a separate ordered pair, different ordered pair, then there is a line that can connect them, okay? So therefore, that line has an equation and we can make an equation of that line based on the ordered pairs that represents point A and B. So, but there's next to this is we all can also write an equation of the line if we're given with one equation and another point wherein the line that you're making its equation is related to the given equation. Okay, so don't be confused. You will be given with one equation, okay, wherein this equation is related to the equation of the other line, which you are trying to write its equation. So they are related. And another thing is also given on that line. I think that a point of the line is given or a y-intercept of that line is also given. So not only three, but we'll be having 4 ways to come up with an equation of the line. First, if you're given with the slope and the y-intercept of the line. So we have this slope-intercept form. Okay, so you have the slope-intercept form. Slope-intercept form is written in y equals mx plus b. Okay, where the m represents the slope and the b represents the y-intercept. So m is representing the slope and the b is representing the y-intercept. So this is the easiest type of or this is the easiest one to do. Once you're given with the slope and the y-intercept, all you need to do is just to replace the m with the given value of the slope and b with the given value of the y-intercept. So if you see here, example number 1, it says, write an equation in slope-intercept form of the line with a slope of -4. Take note, with a slope of -4 and y-intercept of +1. So slope is -4, m is equal to -4, y-intercept is +1, so b is equal to 1. So you simply replace the m and the b with the numbers that represents them respectively, and then what you have after you replace is the equation of the line whose slopes and y-intercept are given. So therefore, the equation of the line that has this slope, which is -4, and the y-intercept of 1 is y equals -4x plus 1. So this is the equation of the line of this line whose slope is -4 and y-intercept is +1. Okay, what about here? So how do we write the equation for this line here? Write an equation in slope-intercept form of the line with a slope of 3 and a y-intercept of -8. So we have to identify first what is our m. M slope is 3. What about what's the other given? B is equal to -8. You know what is a y-intercept? A y-intercept is the point on the graph where the line touches the y-axis. So at that point, when a line is crossing the y-axis, the ordered pair of that point is 0, and then your y-intercept. So you might be given with this kind of ordered pair. If you're given with an ordered pair that says the first coordinate is 0, then automatically the second coordinate, the y-coordinate of that ordered pair, is considered to be the y-intercept. Again, if and only if the first coordinate is 0, your x-coordinate is 0, then therefore the y-coordinate is negative, and therefore the y-intercept of that is the y-coordinate, which is -8. So with this example, we can now write the equation of the line, which is y equals mx, m, which is 3, put x, plus b, which is -8. But we cannot have two signs in between terms. So we have to simplify this positive and negative between the x and the 8. So remember that if the signs are different, then we carry over the negative sign. So y equals 3x minus 8. Okay, and looking on your given, whatever is your y-intercept, since that your y-intercept is -8, and that's the final answer is y equals 3x minus 8. So it looks like, which is applicable at all times, that if you are writing an equation in slope-intercept form, then you're given with a y-intercept, whatever is your y-intercept, that's the number you write after the x in your y equals mx. Okay, so after the x, you can write your given y-intercept right away. So you have now, final answer is y equals 3x minus 8. Okay, so our final answer is y equals 3x minus 8. This is now the equation of the line that has a slope of 3 and a y-intercept of -8. Now, let's go to the next type of equation, or another way to write an equation of the line. Okay, the other way is using a point slope form. So a while ago we have slope intercept form. This one we have point slope form. So we have different forms. So This is like your name. Okay, sometimes you write your name with your last name, comma, your given name. Most of the times, if we are writing our classwork, we write our given name, middle initial, and then last name. So that's the different ways to write the name. Same thing with equation. You can present your equation in slope-intercept form. Also, kung slope-intercept form, it means your equation must be presented like this, wherein on the left side is just variable y, on the left side is just variable y, and on the other side is a term with x and a constant. Okay, so y equals mx plus b. It is not in slope-intercept form if it's 2y equals. It is not in slope-intercept form if it's negative y equals. It should be y equals telang x plus minus a number, and then that's already in slope-intercept form. But if you are just asked to write it in point slope form, then this is what a point slope form equation looks like. Okay, it looks like this one. You simply replace your m with a given slope, your x1 and your y1 from the given ordered pair. That's why it's called a point slope form, because you will be given with a point and a slope. Point is an ordered pair. An ordered pair contains x coordinate and y coordinate. Those two will go to your x1 and your y1. Remember that in an ordered pair, the first number is always x, the second number is always y. So be careful to replace your y1 with your second number in your ordered pair, the x1 with the first number in your ordered pair, and the m before the parentheses will always be the given slope. So you just need to replace the y1, the m, and the x1. The y and the x remains in the equation. For example, write an equation in point slope form of the line with a slope negative 1/2 that contains 3 and negative 7. So this is a point. Okay, this is our point. This is the given slope. So the given point contains x1, which is 3, and y1, which is negative 7. Okay, slope is negative 1/2, which is the m. Slope is m. Okay, so from the given equation of point slope form, we will now replace this y1, this m, and this x1 with the numbers that represents them based on the given datas. That m is negative 1/2, that x1 is 3, and that y1 is negative 7. Adi, be careful with the negative numbers, okay? So take note that after the y is a minus sign, after the x is a minus sign. So if your y1 is a negative, you have to write the negative sign again. Okay, so like this one here, we have y minus. See, y minus, the lang is y1, negative 7. So that's why it's y minus negative 7 equals m, which is negative 1/2, open parenthesis, x minus 3. Okay, and so that becomes, you have to simplify. Sometimes after you replace, you don't need to simplify. You only simplify, you just need another step if you have two signs in between your terms. Okay, so since there are two negative signs here, we need to uh, fuse that one, combine that one, and if both signs are the same, we carry over the positive sign, or it is equivalent to a positive sign. So it becomes y plus 7 equals negative 1/2 times x minus 3. Okay, so this is now your answer, because you are just asked to write the equation in point slope form. Okay, so this is now the equation of the line in point slope form, whose line contains a slope of negative 1/2 and has a point 3, negative 7. Okay, so for example here, let's write over here. Let us identify our m and our x1 and y1. Okay, so we have m equals 4, m equals 4, x1 is equal to what? X1 is equal to negative 3, and then y1 is equal to negative 6. Okay, so m is equal to 4, x1 is negative 3, y1 is equal to negative 6. I cannot write a subscript of 1, so just understand it like that. And then we use the format, this one, y minus y1 equals m times open parenthesis x minus x1 close parenthesis. So we have y minus negative 6 equals m. 4. After the m, you write open parenthesis x. After the x, minus, what's your x1? My negative 3 close. And then simplify. Since there are two negatives in between the y and the number, in between the x and the number, we need to simplify that. That becomes y plus 6 equals 4 open parenthesis 4 open parenthesis x plus 3, and then close. So we just leave it like that. We don't need to distribute the parentheses here. Okay, we don't need to distribute our parentheses. So we just need to leave it like that. Y plus 6 equals 4 times x plus 3. So this is now the equation of the line that contains this given slope of 4 and has negative 3, negative 6, or passing through point whose ordered pair is negative 3, negative 6. Okay, now next, let's go to writing an equation of a line when you're given with 2 points. Okay, so what if you're given with 2 points? How are you going to write the equation of the line? Okay, so that is 2 points. So now take note. From the first two examples that we have slope and y-intercept, slope-intercept form. You're given with a slope and the y-intercept. In the second example, you have a slope and a point. You're using a point slope form. So what's common between these two examples? The common is both has a given slope. Okay, but on the third example, okay, this is an example. This example will tell us the process of how are we going to write the equation of the line if we're given with 2 points, just 2 points. Okay, so if we're given with 2 points, the first thing that we're going to do is to solve for its slope. Okay, remember we have discussed slope in our previous lesson. Okay, the first thing that we do is to solve for the slope of the 2 points. So you will be given with just 2 points. Like for example here, A at negative 1, 6 and B at 3, 2. So you will now assign your x1, y1, x2, y2 to these ordered pairs. Okay, so for example, your x1 is your x1 and y1 is from point A, so x1 is negative 1, y1 is 6, x2 is 3, y2 is 2. And so therefore, using the slope formula, we'll have y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So we have 2 minus 6 all over 3 minus negative 1. Okay, 2, which is your y2, minus 6, which is your y1, all over 3 minus your 3 is your x2 minus your x1, which is negative 1. That's why it's minus negative 1. So simplifying the numerator and the denominator, it becomes negative 4 over positive 4. Simplify it, it's equal to negative 1. So this is now our slope. Now, since we already have a slope, we can now go back to slope or to point slope form, okay, to point slope form to start writing the equation of the line. But take note that it is asking for an equation in slope-intercept form. Okay, therefore you're expected that your final answer will be y equals telang x plus minus telang if it ends up with a variable x. Now, since we already have the slope, we go back first to point slope form, okay, because none of the 2 points gives us a y-intercept, therefore we're gonna use point slope form, okay. So from the given slope or from the slope that we have solved, we will pair it to either point A or point B. Okay, you can choose which point you're gonna pair the slope that you have solved. It does not matter, and you are not required to do both processes. You just need to select one point and pair it with the slope that you have solved, and then that point that you choose will be the source of your x1 and y1. So here you see our m is negative 1, which we have solved, which is the answer of the first step, and then point A contains x1, y1, that is negative 1 and 6. So therefore, it becomes y minus y1, which is 6, equals negative 1, which is the slope, and then bracket x minus negative 1, close, and then bracket. Okay, we use brackets because we're using parentheses inside. You can use parentheses, parentheses. Okay. Now, we're writing it in slope-intercept form. So after simplifying, we need to simplify these two because there's two negatives in between the x and the number. We need to simplify, so that becomes y minus 6 equals negative 1 x plus 1. Now, this one is in point slope form. Okay, this one is in point slope form, but we need to write our answer in slope-intercept form. Okay, so to write it in slope-intercept form, we will have to distribute this slope to each of the numbers inside, and then move the number after your y to the other side, because when we say slope-intercept form, we want our answer to just be variable y on the left side, and all the rest goes to the other side. Okay, so negative 1 times x is negative x. Negative 1 times positive 1 is negative 1. Okay, that's why on the right side from this, it is now negative 1 minus negative x minus 1. Nothing has changed on the right, on the left side. Okay, now we're going to move the negative 6 to the other side, or eliminate this negative 6 on the left side. So we plus 6 on both sides. We add 6 to each side, and that results to y equals negative x plus 5. This is now our answer in slope-intercept form for this, for the line that contains these 2 points. Okay, now if you choose the other point, you may say, teacher, are they gonna be the same? It should be the same with respect to the final answer in point slope form, but you don't expect them to be the same when you are just writing them in point slope form. Okay, this is the point slope form when we use point A. This is the point slope form when we use point B. But continuing on our solution all the way to making it at slope-intercept form, both of them ends to be the same, y equals negative x plus 5. And that's why you don't need to do two processes pairing your slope and the first point, or the slope and the second point. You just need to choose which point do you think is easier for you to 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 use together with the slope that you have solved. So the result is the same using either point. Okay, now let's check over here. Write an equation in slope-intercept form for the line that contains negative 2, 4, and 8, 10. Okay, so this becomes -2 is our 4. I mean, -2 is our x1, 4 is our y1, 8 is our x1, I mean x2, 10 is our y2. So first is we solve for the slope. M is equal to y2 minus y1. 10 minus 4 over 8 minus -2. Okay. So next to that, it's equal to what? It's equal to 6 over 8 plus 2. 8 plus 2 is equal to 6 over 10. And what's the simplified value of x of 6 over 10? It is, I say 3 over 5. So your slope is 3 over 5. Don't be afraid of fraction. You will not live without fraction like COVID. Okay. So I don't know when will the time that we're gonna live without COVID, but it will stay. We just need to be careful and make sure we're healthy. Okay, so our m is negative. Our m is 3 over 5. Now, we'll use this m together with our first point or our second point. Okay, so if I choose the second point, then it will become using m equals 3 over 5 and then ordered pair -2, 4. So that becomes y minus y2, which is 4, equals 3 over 5, which is our m, times, I have to write a fraction like that, guys, so it's easy. It will not confuse us later. Open parenthesis x minus -2, close. Okay. Wait. Okay. So this will become what? Y minus 4 equals equals 3 over 5 3 over 5, then it becomes x plus 2. Close parenthesis. Okay, we have to write it in slope-intercept form, so we have to distribute this 3 over 5 to the x and to 2. So that will become y minus 4. We're not changing anything on the left side yet. So it remains y minus 4 equals 3x over 5 plus 2 over 5. Okay. Plus in between them. Okay, next. We plus 4 on both sides. So that becomes y minus 4 plus 4 equals 3 over 3x over 5 plus 2 over 5 over 5. Oh no, there's an error right there. Becomes y minus 4 equals 3 or 5x. Here's the error here. 3 times 2, 6. Then that becomes over 5. Okay, then you plus 4 both sides, that becomes y equals 3 over 5 x plus, now what is 6 over 5 plus 4? Listen, 6 over 5 over 5 plus 4. What will be the fraction, what is the equivalent fraction of 4 whose denominator is 5? It will become 20 over 5. Okay, because 20 plus 5, 20 over 5 is 4. There. So the final answer is y equals 3x over 5 plus 26 over 5. Okay, so that's the answer. Y equals 3 over 5x plus 26 over 5. This is not the equation of the line of these given 2 points. So first, we solve for the slope, and then we pair the slope with one of the points. We may use the 8, 10. I use the negative 2 over 4. So you check if the 8, 10 is ends up to be y equals 3x over 5 plus 26 over 5, because they should stay the same. Okay, now the next one is writing an equation of the line if you're given with a line and 1 point, or another equation and 1 point. Okay, so for example here, okay, write an equation in slope-intercept form for a line containing 2, 0 that is perpendicular to the line with equation y equals negative x plus 5. Okay, we have to take note of those terms that is used. Perpendicular, it means the two lines are perpendicular. Okay, we have a line. The first line is given with this equation, and the second line is the one that we're solving for. Now these two lines are perpendicular. The second line contains this point, and it's perpendicular to this. So if lines are perpendicular, like what we have discussed last time, their slopes are related, right? So if the lines are perpendicular, remember that lines that are perpendicular, or the slopes of the lines that are perpendicular, are opposite reciprocals of each other. So we have to identify the slope of this line. The slope, this is an equation in slope-intercept form because it's only y on the left side. So that means whatever is the number before your x, that is your slope. Now, since it's just negative sign before the x, it's understood that the slope here is negative 1. Okay, since the slope of the line y equals negative x plus 1 is negative 1, the slope is negative 1, then therefore the line perpendicular to that is positive 1, because the opposite reciprocal of negative 1 is positive 1. Okay, but if it's negative 2, its opposite reciprocal is positive 1/2. Okay, it's 1 and negative 1 is another pair of opposite reciprocals wherein none of them is a fraction. Okay, the rest contains a fraction. Either both are fractions or one is a whole number, the other one is a fraction. Okay, so now we'll be using this positive 1 as the slope of the second line together with 2, 0. So we have a slope and a point. The point is a regular point. It's not a y-intercept point because your x coordinate is 2. Okay, so therefore we cannot use the point slope form, which is easier if, I mean, we cannot use the slope intercept form because the point that is given does not represent a y-intercept. If it's given to be the y-intercept, where if this is 0 and the number, then that would be easier. But since it's not, then we'll be using the point slope form, using using this point to 0 as our x1 and our y1. Therefore, we will have y minus 0 equals 1. Okay, take note 1, the slope that we get from this equation because it's perpendicular, times x minus 2. Then distribute 1. This y minus 0 is just y. And then distribute 1 times x is x. 1 times negative 2 is negative 2. So this is now the equation of the line. Now, for the check your progress, okay, it is a line parallel. So if it's parallel, we use exact the same slope. The same slope. Whatever is the slope of the given line, if they are parallel, then you copy the slope of that line. You do not get its opposite reciprocal. You only get the opposite reciprocal if it's given to be perpendicular. Okay, so that's only for those are the things that we have for today. I hope it's clear, and I hope if it's not clear, I hope I'll see you in our class on Zoom later. Okay, so continue to be safe, continue to follow health and safety protocols that's given by the Ministry of Health and Human Services. If it's not important to go out, to go somewhere, stay at home. Okay, you have to do your part. We have to do our part. Okay, our individual part, because I know sooner we'll all see each other face to face in the classroom, and we can discuss and we can understand the lesson more, for especially for those who really wants face to face classes.